Hi, everyone. So, welcome to another great interview that we're going to have here on Farah's Club. And today I have with me a fellow Limassolian who is also a bit like me. She's half-half. So, we are cocktails or I don't like using the word mongrels. I like saying
No,
products
I say that.
products of globalization. So also a mixed background, a little bit of Cypriot thrown in, a little bit of English, and the cocktail that makes us interesting. So Katerina Sazou is has a background in early learning. So it's something quite different to what we normally go into pure facts, let's say, about veganism. Katerina is the founder of Rise Preschools, and she's the head teacher of Roots Preschool as well, and really concentrates on early development and how important that is for everyone. I mean, we were saying earlier when you go and seek professional help or see a psychologist, which, 1 in 3 of us will have to do at some point in our lives. The first question we're going to be asked is tell us about your childhood, tell us about your earliest memories. She's also a vegetarian. So that's the tie there. And we were introduced by a mutual friend. And I will not say too much more because I want Gadelina herself to chat to us. So, Gadelina, thank you so much for finding the time in your day and being part of Forest Club.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And everyone, you will have a chance to meet Gadelina at the next gathering as well that we do. So that will be really good. So, Gadelina, well, let's start with talking about early years. Now, you mentioned to me when we spoke last time how you were inspired to start your schools with a different concept because, coming back to Cyprus after studying abroad and having a mixed background that you do, you were quite shocked when you heard people say, well, oh, it doesn't matter, or they won't remember, or, whichever school is fine. And knowing just how fundamental early learning and early stage development really is. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Yeah, so I said, like, I've been in education. My husband's in education. It's what we do. It's what we are. Um, but when I had my children, I realized, and I had to look around for my children, and I had to actually got in really stuck into early years from also a parent's perspective. I realized there's a very wrong perception of what early years education is. Um, to me, I just think there's nothing more important than early years. It's very simple, but I don't think many people think about it. To me, early years is the foundation. It's the seed, and if you get it wrong, you're going to spend a lot of time trying to fix it later on. So what I kind of say is, why can't we just get it right the first time? And there's this preconception that early years is, oh, it's finger painting and it's, oh, whatever, and they're just going to do some puzzles and they're going to bite and hit each other a little bit then go home. Like that's what people kind of think happens in an early years environment, and it's not. And it's something that I'm so passionate about. I think early years is when we should be laying the foundations. We should be starting habits. We should be talking about important issues to them, because it's very difficult to teach a child, for example, the habit of healthy eating or the habit of recycling and being environmentally friendly at the age of 10 or 15, when they're already kind of more established in their ways and less flexible. But if you teach a child at the age of 2 about to eat healthy and, to sit at a dinner table and let's eat our meal and let's talk about what it's doing for us. And then in the morning, let's wake up, let's go do some exercise. This is what we recycle. This is what goes in the rubbish. Don't hurt the living, don't kill the ants. It's a living thing. Be conscious of others around you. If you teach that to a 2-year-old, then when they're 20, it's just normal to them. It's not something different. They don't have to reestablish their way of thinking. They don't have to reshape their way of thinking because they've just always done that. So yeah, early years to me, it's so logical to me that it should be the most important time in somebody's life. It shouldn't be overlooked. And then the most important thing is, the university. It's not the early.
It's the early, it is literally fundamental. It's our foundation, and everything else gets built upon that. And the science is there. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but I do read a lot about development, also having three kids of my own. And not only actually, I think not only just looking at our kids and how they grow up, but we've got to look at psychology to work out ourselves and understand ourselves better and forgive ourselves and forgive those around us. Yeah, I just think I couldn't agree more. It's so important to get that right.
Yeah.
I love that you talk about healthy eating and recycling and exercise. So, how would you suggest, living your life like this and devoting everything to the importance of early years? How would you suggest people listening go about really making sure they get the foundations and the fundamentals correct? Like, what actual examples can you give of how we can, help the little ones, become more confident and happy and well-rounded?
No, it's very simple. It's just about being an example. So children are incredible listeners. They're incredible observers. Even if you think they're not listening, they are. If you think they haven't seen it, they've seen it. And they'll take it in and they'll take that as a norm. What they see, they think that's how it is and that's how it should be. Um, Hopefully what they see is positive, and they can take it with them. If they can't, and unfortunately a child has a negative experience, then they will at some point most probably recognize that in a later stage and they will try to fix it. But for example, when it comes to health, living a healthy lifestyle, if the child sees mum and dad exercising, that's just normal to them, that we exercise. That's just a daily thing. Let's exercise. If they see mum and dad eating healthily, that's normal to them. So that's what you are their example to. And this can be applied in every area. So when it comes to manners and respect and acceptance of diversity, they'll look to their adult, whether that be an adult, their mum and dad, or whether that be their guardian or their teacher. Whoever is their role model is who they will look to. The best thing that we can do is simply be an example for them. It's not about pushing them to do something. So when I came to your presentation on Thursday, you said something really interesting. Somebody asked, how can I get my child to eat healthy and eat vegan? How can I get that to happen? And many parents, you'll hear them say, well, I don't let them in, and I tell them that this is bad, and they try and force them to do it. And your answer was lovely. You said, well, you just at home, this is what we do, and that's just how it is. But I just want them to be happy. I'm not going to force them into anything, and they will find their path. It's as simple as that. Just that's their life at home. That's their life. It shouldn't be, well, my mum told me and my mum said and my mum demanded and she didn't let me.
Exactly. My mum told me not to have any sugar, but she was eating ice cream. Or my mum told me to eat broccoli, but she actually had, a packet of crisps and a
Yeah,
hamburger.
yeah.
Then the kids are like, well, why is there a standard for you? And then they want attention, they start, reacting, they'll start doing things that are different. Yeah, and it's just a vicious circle.
And
Um,
it's just about what they see. If you want your child to, we live in a community, so really a huge thing that we have our preschools is acknowledging that we live in a community, and you have to live positively in a community. We don't live alone on this earth, and we should come together. And so charity work and donations and helping others, they can do this at 2, they can do this at 3, 4,
absolutely.
5. And if they see you doing it, they are going to do it as an adult.
Hmm.
Somebody once said to me about the environment. We were having a conversation about the environment, and they said, what is a 2-year-old going to do for the environment? I said, it's not what a 2-year-old can do for the environment, it's what a 20-year-old can do for the environment. If a 2-year-old learns about being conscious of the environment and being conscious of don't hurt the animals, don't hurt the insects, don't pick a plant, don't litter at the beach, then if all of the 2-year-olds now in this generation learn that, that's going to have such an effect as they grow. And there's going to be this new wave of generation that is so much more considerate than the one we have now.
Absolutely. I think the Dalai Lama said, didn't he, if every 8-year-old was taught the art of meditation, we wouldn't have war. And
Yeah.
it starts from a young age if they can just learn. Yeah. I mean, you're talking and I'm just thinking of my three little, adorable yet crazy kids who, they're just so cute. They'll get their yoga mats out and they're not going to do an hour's worth of yoga, but they'll know that there's exercise and they'll be like, look, look what we're doing. And they have fun doing it themselves and they're suddenly going, and they're asking for broccoli. Like I remember being in South Africa, Yasmina, so my eldest was 1, and these people came up to me in a restaurant just to congratulate me and say, "Oh, I can't believe your kid's eating so much broccoli," because we were leaving the restaurant and she had like a takeaway of it, was sucking on these broccoli florets. And for me, it was just normal. She sees us eating broccoli. Broccoli's delicious. But for other people, I said this in the talk the other day, it's the 5 a day. And I can't believe, I'm so happy there is a campaign for 5 a day, but I can't believe that we've got to the stage where we're telling our kids, you must eat 5 fruit and veg a day. Like for my kids, it's only like that would be a punishment to only have five. I mean, their snack box that they eat before 10 in the morning has, it's apples, strawberries, blueberries, whatever, I mean, it's insane. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. Lead by example and show them a better way. And I think it's quite interesting when we become parents. I spoke about this on Thursday, how, we suddenly have to rethink things. And that was part of my steps, in my personal health journey and going towards veganism and a plant-based healthy life was after having my first and seeing what doctors suggested kids eat and seeing ham suggested for an 8-month-old and like just being shocked. I mean, the World Health Organization has classed red meat and processed meat as carcinogens. So how they can get onto lists that are, by the way, sponsored by, of course, HIP and Nestle and everything else, it just shocked me. And I thought, well, I've got to become healthy because I can't just give that to my kid and then her
Mm-hmm.
see something different.
Yeah.
So I love that. So tell us a little bit more about your experience with maybe the parents and how, you've gone about suggesting that maybe they need some help. Because we can talk about lunch boxes. I mean, I hung out a lot in kindergartens with all my kids who needed some adjustment period. And so I saw many snack boxes opened and I saw pizzas and sausage rolls and crisps and oh my goodness, what are they called? Those little cereal, not cereal bars, but they're stuffed with chocolate and
Yeah,
and
the like, breakfast bars and that, and yeah. Look,
but
what
well,
I have.
some breakfast bars are good, but I mean some, and this is in kids that I would classify as obese, and I just think, oh, you poor things. Yeah.
What I have found is that there are some parents who they think like we do, and it's not an issue when they're on board and there's no explanation needed. There's some parents who just generally, not even our parents at our schools, just generally in conversation with parents, I find that they'll say, but they don't eat that, they don't like that, and they'll give a substitute. Um,
Mm.
if you give a substitute to a child, they will always have the substitute. If you put a salad in
Mm.
front of a child and they know if they don't have the salad, they're going to have a pizza, they're going to have the pizza. But they'll say, but my child will only eat pizza. My answer is, well, you put the pizza in front of them. They didn't make the pizza themselves. They didn't, you taught them that they can have that pizza if they don't have this nice bowl of vegetables and fruit. And so it's a case of, if a child knows there's going to be a substitute, they will go for the substitute. If they're educated on what's in front of them, then they will want that, and they'll be happy with that. And
Mhm.
you'll hear a parent say, no, but they're going to starve. They'll never starve. They will never starve. Never starve. A
My
child
dad
will
always
want.
says that in the Western world, the children will not starve. I mean, when
They'll
they're
never
hungry,
starve.
they'll eat and they'll find the food.
They will eat when they are hungry. My son, he um oh my god, I can't remember what it was. There's something my oldest son, he doesn't. Oh my god, what was it? I think it was corn or something. it was corn on the cob or something like that. He doesn't like it, and it was all that was, and he was starving, and he ate it. And my younger son said, "But you don't like that," and he said, "No, but I'm hungry." He ate it because he was hungry, and it's just it's so logical. But I understand parents are anxious. The other thing I've noticed is that we tend to assume that all parents are knowledgeable on this area of raising children. They're not. Not parents are doing their best. They're doing what they think is best, what they know, without actually having to think about it. When I had my children, when I was very young, I was 22 when I had my first son. I thought I knew what I was doing was great, and because God bless my mum, but we were raised on McDonald's. But she thought that was fine and okay. When my son was a child, he had ice cream when he was, I think it was 6 months old. My mom gave him ice cream, and I was okay with that. I didn't think. I wasn't educated on this. He would have very unhealthy snacks, and I'd be that mum that would send him to school with sausage rolls. I wasn't educated. So what I found now is a lot of the times, in many aspects, not even just in healthy eating, but in discipline, in behavior management, in helping children in self-defense, many areas of raising children, you first have to educate the parents before you can educate the children. Because if we're at school teaching the children one thing, and then they're going home and the parents are saying, "Oh, we're teaching them to recycle," and the parents going home, they don't have a recycling bin. Or we're teaching them about protecting the insects, and we're going home and the parents are thinking it's funny by stamping on the ant's nest, for example. You're kind of negating everything that we're trying to do, and it just becomes ineffective. So what I found is first you have to educate the parents. This can be done, at our schools. We try and do this through seminars, through workshops with the parents. First talk to them before we talk to the children. Everyone has to be on board in order for this to work.
Takes a village. Takes a village.
100% takes a village.
Yeah, it takes a village. Yeah. My other expression is and a vineyard.
And yes, it does take a vineyard.
No, but I'm joking. No, it does take a village, and it's great when everyone is on board, and everyone, all parents do their best, and none of us are perfect, and that's the point. We're not here. Nobody is here to judge another. Some people might think they know better, and others think they know better than that, and everyone can always improve. So as you said, like, you were doing one thing with your first child different to your second. Me too, completely. What I was giving them to eat, and it's a journey, and it can be a fun journey, but the point is to also educate ourselves and then just keep trying our best. I would definitely say as well, seeing like schools and hearing from other teachers and friends that I have who are in education, that they'll say, kids will come home, and let's say they never eat at home peas and rice. And then suddenly they'll be like, "Oh, well, that was on offer today at school," and they ate everything. And the parents are shocked. They're like, "Well, how did you get my kid to eat that?" But again, it's innate in us that we are part of a community. We need others. So when children sit down and they are with other kids who are all digging in, and it's 12 o'clock and they're hungry and they're having their Brazilian rice, they'll eat it, or their fagues, or whatever it is.
Yeah. They will eat. And it is about community. So, food is such a huge thing in childhood, and it's usually, parents are chasing their children around, trying to get them to eat the broccoli, trying to get them to eat the cauliflower. It shouldn't be chasing anyone. So it's a community thing. Sit down, have a conversation. Let's have a meal. Let's have a family time. Let's talk. And it shouldn't be about the food. It should be about
forcing it
together around. It should be a positive experience. This food situation. It should be positive. It should be a nice time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. So do you think that I mean, there is obviously online, and if somebody does want to go out of their way to educate themselves on nutrition and food. There's so much there. There's Farah's Club, which we're all, members of being here. But do you think that schools, should, or that they will do, hopefully in the future, get more active and interactive and proactive with parents, sending out information on, maybe this is what we suggest to be in a lunchbox or a snack box, or because I think a lot of parents, they just don't know. So they're also doing what's convenient for them. There are now in Cyprus, it's actually someone I know, they've started can't remember what it's called, but like a kind of snack and lunchbox service where you can opt, and there is a vegan option that I help them develop, but you can also have your regular omnivorous diet, let's say, but then they'll deliver those snacks, and at least that they're healthier than maybe what you'd grab to throw in a lunchbox. So how do you see that developing with schools and parents together?
No, I know that some schools are trying to encourage healthy choices. My son's schools, they send out my son's school, sorry, sends out a letter at the beginning, and in that, all of that information is make sure it's healthy. Very simple, just make it healthy.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, because healthy to one family is completely different to another. So I think guidelines, I was quite impressed. My kids changed football club now, but they were in one that did send out this kind of nutrition, or it was in their pack, their welcome pack. And I opened it and I thought, oh, here we go. Let's see what rubbish they're going to say. And actually they did say, okay, they didn't say don't eat meat, but they had only eat meat twice a week or something like that. And I was shocked for something in Cyprus to say that. And then have your beans, have your vegetables, make sure you have your fruit, have nuts, have whole grains. And I was like, wow, like this is so refreshing for a family to receive this. And also I know that the government has not very great, definitely in Cyprus, but maybe abroad, like guidelines with what can be sold to children in the canteens.
In the canteen, that's an issue. I've heard that. Unfortunately, I've heard that is an issue. My children aren't in public schools, but I do know. I have heard that that's an issue. My children's school doesn't have a canteen. I send them with a snack. Again, I think it's about educating parents. It just goes back to they think they're doing their best. A lot of parents, they'll say, my child is fed. They're hungry as long as they've eaten. But it's a case of, have you educated yourself on what they should be eating?
Yeah. Calorie counting as opposed to nutrition.
Exactly. So they're full. What have they filled themselves with, my love? is the issue. So again, it's just about educating the parents, because again, the children are going to take what they see as a given. They think that's normal. So if my mom is packing me donuts, if my mom is packing me cupcakes and biscuits and chocolates and Nutella, then that's okay. That's good. It's a good thing, because she wants what's best for me, and she does want what's best for you. But then that child is going to grow up to then be an adult who eats like that, and then teach their children that it's okay to eat like that. So
well, that's what they say. I mean, like, disease runs in families, but so does eating habits. So is it really a disease or a tendency for diabetes or whatever it might be, Western diseases, or is it that, we've all been eating the same thing for generations, and if you break that.
It's about habits. It's not that anyone is doing it on purpose. They're not doing it because they don't want their child to be well. It's a habit. It's what you have learned. It's what you've been conditioned to think is okay. My children, like as I said, my mum nearly every day would go pick us up from school, drive through McDonald's. When my children were very young, my children would eat McDonald's. I didn't think about it. It was just habitual. And then it got to a point where I thought, I can't even think what moment, but when I realized this isn't actually, this isn't okay.
Yeah, this isn't brain food.
No, this isn't what is good. This isn't what's good for them. So it's just about breaking those habits and creating good ones. And now is when you need to create the good ones.
So on that note, my last question is what are your favorite like family meals or recipes or some tips on how to get more fruit, veg, whole grains into your kids' diets? Like what do you like whipping up, let's say, and everybody tends to enjoy?
Look, I like the colorful ones. I like food where there's lots of color because it's also more appealing to children, especially younger children. Right, my kids are older now. I can't tease them with, oh, we're going to eat a rainbow. They're to 9 and 10. They're not going to be. But now, when they were little, if it was colorful, it was like, oh, can you find the red one? Can you find the green one? And it was fun.
Game. I
Um,
love that.
so the colorful dishes are always appealing. The other one that I always suggest to parents is to get the children to make it. Because if they've made it, then they're more likely to try it. Or or to kind of spread it out on the dinner table. So they can, for example, let's say tortilla, you can get like whole wheat tortilla pizzas and make tortilla pizzas and have like, oh, let's put this on it. And what would you like on it? And put this spread of healthy ingredients out and say, what would you like to have on your tortilla pizza? And you'll see them because it's so exciting to make it themselves. You'll see it like putting the hummus and putting the olives and putting the peppers, and
Yeah.
they'll be so exciting for them that they'll eat it. It's just as a what I said before about it being a positive experience as opposed to
Yeah.
sitting at the table, eat that, and you've got to eat that, and you're not allowed to leave the table until you eat all your broccoli, and you're not allowed. That's not what it's about. It's supposed to be a nice experience.
And inclusive, you can spend more time with your kids like that. That's how I see it. Like I'm working all day, but if I come home and I am cooking on a weekend when I make stuff, like if I'm like, no, 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 you guys go just, you know, sit down in front of the TV, mummy's busy for the next half an hour. How boring is that? I'm like, come on, everyone, bundle in the kitchen, let's get messy, let's have
Yeah,
fun. And then they eat it even more because they're so proud of it. They're like, we made
yeah,
this, you know.
exactly.
Yeah.
Smoothies is also a popular one. Smoothies. Oh, my younger son loves making the smoothies.
Oh,
Obsessed at one point with chia seeds. My husband laughs. Chia seeds was in every single smoothie.
yeah,
Chia
cheers. That's so good
seeds.
though, so healthy. And flaxseed, ground flaxseed.
Yeah.
I love it.
Or there was these like, health. There was these muffins. So my son was obsessed at one point with these spinach muffins that we would call Hulk muffins. They were green.
Yeah,
Um, no, it becomes fun. It should be fun for
absolutely.
them. It should be positive.
I love that. Well, on that positive note and that fun note, that's where we'll end it today. So thank you everyone for listening and watching us. You can meet Gazarina because she's part of Farah's club, and we're going to have lots of events online and in person. So we can definitely pick her brain more into early learning years. So thank you so much, Gazarina, and have
Thank
a great
you.
day.